I think for me, like I don't want to sound robotic. I want to be very genuine. And maybe not so much even taking up people's time, but just making sure the time I do use is well used.
Okay. And you actually made a very good point. So scripts are meant to be pretty much short and sweet. I think Kim even mentioned doing a video. We definitely don't want anything long-winded because, like you said, time is valuable, right? So we do want to respect other people's time, but also provide value, not sound robotic or scripted. So can you give me an example of what robotic would mean to you?
I think for me, it's just not having, I mean, I'm kind of a talker to begin with, but just talking in a way that it doesn't sound like me would feel robotic to me.
Okay, perfect. So, one of the things that I want us to start off with is I will provide you guys by the end of this some different scripts to look at, but always make sure that you are rewording it to sound like you, right? So, something I may say may not necessarily be something that Melissa would say. I know there are, a lot of scripts out there, and one of the first ones is, can I help you buy, sell, or invest today in real estate? To me, that sounds very robotic, right? It sounds very scripted. It doesn't lead with value, which is one of the things that I'm pushed a lot in a lot of my classes. Now, that may sound completely natural to somebody else. So you will have to take some of this and kind of adjust it to your own personality. The other thing that I want to start with is your power hour. Okay. So every day, whatever it may be, we should be prospecting. We must, not should, be prospecting in our business. If you're not prospecting, you're not getting any business. You cannot sit behind your computer or in your office and just expect somebody to come knock on your door and say that they want to buy or sell a house. It just doesn't happen that long unless you've been in the business for 40 years and you've got an amazing pipeline of referrals. You must be prospecting for your business. So write this down every day, a minimum, I would love for you to do 2 hours, but a minimum of 1 hour every day for intentional conversations to people in your database and new prospects. You're going to ask for an appointment or referral. So what does this mean? If you are talking to some of your past clients, you may be asking for a referral, right? I just wanted to check in with you to see if you if you needed anything from me today. Strike up that conversation, and then at the end of the conversation, say, "Hey, I am looking to hit X and X goal. Do you know anybody looking to possibly buy in real estate or sell real estate the next 6 months?" We'll go over some of those conversations, but there's a way that you can do it where you lead with value. You're asking them what they need, and then you can ask for the appointment or referral toward the end of the conversation. So I'm not one of those that say you need to hound the phones for 100 calls a day. You definitely want to check the do not call registry list and just make sure that you're kind of abiding by some of those regulations. But with that said, if you notice here, it says intentional conversations. Okay. So that could be if I'm going to go to the coffee shop today, I'm going to make sure I'm going to have 10 intentional conversations with other people about real estate, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean you're hitting the phones, you're hitting cold calling, whatever that works for you, but you must be prospecting every single day because consistency is what's going to count here. And I always recommend starting first thing in the morning. Put your power hour first thing in the morning. For your early risers, of course, don't call before 8 a.m., but set that power hour between 8 and 9 or 9 and 10 or 8 and 10, even better. And the reason why is you want to get the most undesired task completed first. So just kind of raise your hand or just open up your mic. Who dreads making calls? Who dreads prospecting every single day? Does anybody dread it, or is everybody just ready to go, looks forward to making their calls every day?
I dread it. I feel like I'm bothering people when I call them because in the morning I feel like they're at work and I don't want to bother them at work when I'm calling.
Okay. And so now, Kimmy, we're going to talk about that because that was one of the limited beliefs that I had on here is I don't want to call now because I'm bothering them. So I want to ask you, and I hope you don't mind me kind of
Micah,
calling you to the carpet here. Yes.
sorry, I'm going to interrupt a little bit. So one thing that I have been trying to figure out is the right time to call. Like sometimes I'll try to call in the morning, just like what I forgot the other lady's name. It's a wrong timing because they're at work. And then when you try to call them in the evening, sometimes they will say, yeah, call back later because we're busy preparing dinner, something like that.
So let me
And
ask you this,
if
Randy,
I
is
try
there
to call
ever,
in the middle of the day, I just leave a voicemail and never get a call back.
so let me ask you, Randy, because all of your clientele are going to be different and have different schedules, is there ever a right time?
Uh, Quite frankly, without asking them, no.
Right. So you want to do what works for your schedule. And what I have found most of the time is if you get things done first thing in the morning, because otherwise they drag you on for the rest of the day. So let's say some of us don't want to make our calls, right? We don't want to go out and prospect. If we wait and we push it off to maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, then what's going to happen is you're not going to get all your other things done that you had put forth to get done that day because mentally you're already worn out. So I always talk about prospecting. Your power hour should be first thing in the morning so you felt like you've already conquered your day, right? Now let's go back to Kimmy because you talked about bothering them. Kimmy, I hope you don't mind me asking you. I know we know each other pretty well, so I hope you don't mind. But the last time you had a closing, you either represented a seller or buyer, and you went to the closing table. Were you bothering them or did you help them?
I hope I helped them. Yes.
I would imagine you did. I know you do your job very well. So we have to shift our mindset. Okay, it's really the key here is our mindset. We are stopping ourselves because we are believing that we're bothering people instead of genuinely helping them and providing value and being of assistance. So anytime that you have that thought, think about your last client who just raved how great Kimmy was, right? Maybe they wouldn't sent you a testimonial. And think about if you didn't fulfill your power hour and your prospecting, how many people are you actually not serving because you didn't reach out?
Good point. Very good point.
So a lot of times it's actually our mindset, right? We just have to shift our thinking. Okay. Just as Randy mentioned, I'm trying to find what time. It's 80% psychology, 20% strategy. There is never going to be a right time, right? I would say, after 10 o'clock at night, that's definitely the wrong time. But with that said, everybody's got different schedules. You're going to hit people's voice boxes. And I'll show you some of the things after you leave a voicemail. I'm going to show you how to increase your conversion rate. But with that said, I'm going to kind of drill it in again. There is no perfect time. If we're waiting for that perfect time, we're never going to make our calls. So I want to challenge you today to go ahead and block out your power hour every single day, whether it's an hour or two, a minimum of 1 hour, and just make sure nothing else distracts you during that time, because that's going to be the lifeblood of your business. You have to be prospecting every single day. And then we want to set expectations for ourselves. And how you're going to do that is know the average conversion rate. So let's say I am going to make 100 calls, right? I cannot expect that I'm going to close 50% of those. I need to know what the average conversion rate. So if the national average is 3%, for example, which is pretty close to that, maybe I'm a little bit above national average. Maybe I'm 4 or 5%. So I know that I need to reach out to 100 people in order to get 4 or 5 of them to transact a sale. Now, that's not going to be immediate. That's going to be over a course of time because a lot of people start looking at real estate 18 months before they're ready to purchase. So that's why the consistency here is so key, that once you do it every single day, you're going to build this massive pipeline that's just going to work for you. Make sense? Anybody have any questions so far? All right, so ask yourself, okay, how much could you earn if you were well prepared and practiced? Okay. Why did you originally get into real estate? Some of us may be new to real estate. Some of us may have been in over 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I want you I'm going to pause here. I want you guys to write down, think about the first day you got your real estate license. You were so excited, hit the ground running. What did that mean to you? Why did you originally get into real estate? I'm going to go ahead and mute myself. If anybody wants to share, feel free to chime in. Was that time freedom, financial freedom? What did that look like for you guys?
This is Sherry.
Hey, Sherry.
I basically got into real estate. Well, first of all, God has blessed me with 3 granddaughters, and I like to spend a lot of money on them and take them on trips. So part of mine was, to be able to afford some of those luxuries that I normally couldn't. And also, my other goal is I really do enjoy helping people, and I like to make sure that my friends and family and any of my clients aren't being taken advantage of. So I kind of feel like if I'm helping them, I know that they're being taken care of.
Absolutely. I love the mindset on that. So you'd mentioned your grandkids. So there's a quote by Tony Robbins, with whom I love and I follow, but he always says, "Your why must make you cry." And for some of you, you may kind of be rolling your eyes at me at this point. It sounds a little bit cliche, but truly, if you have not determined why you're doing what you're doing, everything I teach you today is not going to matter. Okay. I'll say that again. Everything I teach you today will not matter if you don't know why you're doing it. And the reason why is, in those days and those times you don't feel like getting out of bed, or you don't feel like prospecting, you don't feel like making your calls, you don't feel like going out, you have to know why you're doing what you're doing, because that's what's going to get you out of bed in the morning. For me, it's my 2 sons, right? It's my 2 sons, being able to take them on vacations, and one of my boys has some medical challenges. It's being able to pay his medical bills and not even blink twice and have to think about it. Those will drive me during the times that I don't feel like doing certain activities. Anybody else want to share?
Mine's just the same. It's the freedom of time, freedom of schedule, be able to take care of my family better, and just to have goals, not to be just working behind some desk in some office somewhere where, like most people, we're just all a number.
I love that. Thank you so much, Nicholas, for sharing. So let me ask you guys, and you may or may not want to share this part, but are you guys fulfilling these goals right now? Do you feel like you are fulfilling the goals that you set forth when you originally decided to get into real estate? Nobody may want to share that one.
Well, I
Okay.
will. I will.
Okay, awesome.
This is Dorika again. I actually am. It took me a while. When I first came into real estate, my why, basically, I was in a really dark place. I was a single mom, and at the time I was working for about $11.50 an hour with no time freedom, and I was still broke. I was still on welfare, and I just wanted to be able to supplement, the income that my household was lacking because their fathers were not present in my life. And so at this point, the fact that I've been in real estate now 15 years, I've had some struggles, I've been homeless, I've had some other trajectories that I've overcome, and I've now become an established agent. I am actually making enough income. I don't quite have the time freedom yet, but I am finally making enough income to where I can support my family comfortably. So I will say that I am accomplishing those goals.
I love that. And you can't see the smile on my face, and I'm applauding you right now. Thank you so much for sharing. And I know you're a fantastic mother, and I certainly know that's what drives you. So again, your why must make you cry. You have dug deep internally to find out what that means to you. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
So the next part of this is every other profession must practice. So why, as a real estate agent, do we think it must be different, right? So let's think about the professional athlete. They have to practice their game. It's not just about going out on the court. It's about all the hours of practice that we haven't seen behind the scenes, right? Same thing with the actor or the actress. We go in and we watch the movie. That's the final product, but we haven't seen all the hours and hours that they have practiced prior to getting to that perfect shot. So I really want us to be real with ourselves, and I won't ask you to open up your mic unless you want to on this one, but really think about it. Are you practicing your profession as a real estate agent? Because if you're struggling with scripts, I'm going to be honest with you, and I may say this, it might strike a chord with some of you. It's because you haven't practiced enough.